Hey everybody, it's Jenny, and I am here today to share with you how I am planning in my memory planner. Those are some absolutely adorable Feed Your Craft die cuts, and these are the pocket page cards that come with this month's kit. There is also a stamp set that I will share with you. Look at that. Oh my gosh, perfect. This is all about celebrations. I'm using it this week for a birthday, and I am absolutely in love with all of the colors and the artwork as well, and I cannot wait to get these designs down on my paper. Look at that stamp set. Amazing. I love it. Like, I can't even talk to you enough about how much I'm really enjoying this. So I'm going to sort these out. I'm going to pull apart the ones that I think that I might use on this particular week. This kit is about celebrations. It's very birthday themed or oriented, but it's not all birthday. So I don't need those that are not, or maybe a little bit more focused on different types of celebrations. That's how I memory plan. I start by going through my photos from the week. I write them down, the ones that I want to print, and then I print them out in a grid on my Canon selfie printer, and then I cut them apart using my paper trimmer. I also, on that little edge that is removable from the Canon selfie prints, I write the date on there because I am older and I forget all the things. And I want this to be a really fun, streamlined process. And so I need those dates on there. I'm not even going to pretend that I don't need them. I try to keep them and I try to select one or two photos from each day. Now, that's not a rule, it's just a guideline. And so if I have five, I'll use five. That's not a problem. But by and large, it really works out that one or two is what works. For photos, I try to keep them on the days that the things happened. However, I am not opposed to moving things around, especially if it's photos of pets or things in my home or things like that, that it really doesn't matter. However, like that photo of my son, it's his birthday, and so I'm going to put the photo of him very close to his birthday because that's kind of the whole point. So it usually just works out for me. I don't really have too many problems with this, especially sticking to one or two photos per day. It really just lends itself to they can fit on their date. That photo right there, I just went ahead and punched it in a circle shape. I love to punch a photo here and there into a circle. I think it makes great visual interest on the page. It changes things up. It just is really aesthetically pleasing. And I also love layering my photos. So usually there's an opportunity for layering. You just need to look at the photo itself and see where is something. So for example, in that photo of my son's birthday, our kitchen cabinets, I don't need to have that all 100% showcased. So I can add a photo on top of that. Or at the voting station, I can layer on top of it a little bit where the desk is. Now I'm going to use a whole 3x4 card, which I don't usually do, and I'm going to place it down there, and then I'm going to layer on top of it on one half a photo of my son on his birthday, and then on the other side I am going to use some Mambi Sticks photos, or I'm sorry, not photos, stickers, and just write 13 there. I cannot believe my youngest son is 13. It's absolutely nuts. So I feel like I need to really go big with this in my memory planner because I'm in just disbelief that my youngest son is 13 years old. And I'm sure any other parents out there or anyone who has watched a kid grow up can sympathize on how fast it goes. I'm also going to add a couple of the die cuts to this cluster. I like to try to keep things in groups of 3 or 5, and that's what I did. I think that it just really looks the nicest. I'm going to trim off the tiniest bit of that photo right there and add, just so I can have it sit flush with the edge, and then put the rest of the photos. So you can see it's kind of like a little cluster right there of those photos as well. Those three, it creates like a little triangle. The visual triangle is really everything, and it's one of those things that it's really, once you get started looking for that trend, it is not hard to do at all. I know I just sort of gravitate towards it naturally, and I'm always really pleased with the outcome. And I think that with some practice, it's definitely something everybody else could do as well. So I'm starting to also add some other decorative elements. So you saw right there that little die cut. It's so cute. This whole kit is just absolutely adorable. And then now there's a couple of other pieces that I think go perfectly with that photo or the screen, I didn't screen grab the photo that I saved from NPR calling Joe Biden as the president. Then I have these cards too. Now I have this Celebrate card, and so those numbers are adorable. And then there's this striped one that's also super cute. And I'm going to punch it. I want to make sure to preserve as much of the card as possible, though I don't want a lot of wasted space. So I really took care to get as close to the corner as possible because I absolutely love the color palette and I love the stripes. And so I don't want to waste one single bit of it. I'm just going to layer it right there with that one die cut. It's so cute. Keeping it simple because I've got a couple of other clusters that are a little bit more crazy, and so I don't want to overwhelm the page. I'm going to trim this card down as much as I humanly can. I don't want the whole thing because I want to layer it with that card with the numbers on the left-hand side. So I want to be able to see that and have this sort of be like the decorative punch, if you will. So it ends up being the perfect size actually in the end, and then we will layer it with some embellishments also. There's also a little piece on it, like, so it was kind of designed like with a deck of cards, like in the two corners, like, the Ace of Hearts or whatever. In one of those corners, you can still see that. So I'm going to layer a die cut on top of that just so then you can't see it. It's like it wasn't even there and it's perfect. Like the whole idea of trimming the card down really worked out. These stamps, I cannot wait to use them. I think they're just going to be a favorite over and over again, especially for celebrating. It's just so fun to have some great stamps. Look how cute that card is. I love that. I don't know if it's just the font or if it's the black and white with the font or whatever, but it is adorable. Also, I will link this kit up or link the shop up in the comments below, or, in the comments below so that you can go get this kit too. It is so cute and I absolutely love it. So now I'm going to move these die cuts over here to this cluster. I don't know. I like them with the Joe Biden thing, but I think they're just better off over in this lower corner and then having the little champagne glasses for the Joe Biden thing. I think that just works out. So right now we have 3, and then I'm going to add the 2 little red elements. So again, we have a cluster of 5. So I have 2 fairly involved clusters, the Celebrate one and then the 13 one. So keeping that other one above with the stripes simple is definitely key because I don't want it to be too much. Now I'm going to pull the pages out of the discs as I do. I like to do that for writing and stamping and all of those things. Adding the photos and the embellishments isn't really a big deal as long as I don't have too much going on near the discs. And I didn't. So now I can pull it out so that we can put the activity stickers. I like to include our engagements, so practice or school or appointments or those types of things. That's why I started memory planning in the first place, because I was overwhelmed by how busy we were at the time, and I knew that I had a son in high school, a son in middle school, and a son in elementary school, and I knew that our lives wouldn't always look like this. And I knew that someday I would never be able to recall perfectly what this time in our life looked like. And so enter memory planning. And so the activities and the appointments are just such a huge part of my memory planning and the reason that I started. So that's why I do it this way. Everybody's story is different, everybody's why is different, and so that's why everybody's memory planner is going to look different, or just projects in general are going to look different. These are the Studio Calico inverse labels, and I love them. I think you've all heard me talk about them before. They are a wide variety of colors. They're nice and simple, modern colors, and $1 a sheet. Like, I can't say enough good things about these. I think they are just wonderful. I love the pop of color. They are basically like quarter and half box sizes. And for me, they're just absolutely wonderful, and I highly recommend them. If you're writing with like a normal pen, you do need to give them a minute so they don't smear, but otherwise they are wonderful, just absolutely wonderful. I just picked up some more. They had a 20% off coupon code last week. I picked up some more, so basically 80 cents a sheet for the labels, and I just don't think you can beat it for something that I like so much. The colors and just how simple they are. I love it. All right, so I'm going to fill all those in with the appointments and the activities and things like that. apparently I forgot to adhere that guy down, so now I need to add some adhesive to the back of that one. Just goes to show that, I think I've got it all together and I'm ready to move on to the next step, and clearly I was not because I did not adhere one of the elements down. But it's okay because now I am, and I'm finishing up the activities, which of course, thanks to COVID, are much, much more subdued, but that's okay. I'm still making the most of it. I'm still telling the stories. So I'm going to stamp a couple of stamps right here in the middle, and I'm going to use the sea glass for this one, and then I'll use the other one for the next one. But look how cute that cake is. I'm just in love. Now, in hindsight, I probably would have gone with a different color. It really doesn't give enough justice having these two stamps be so similar. But you live and learn, and it's okay. I don't hate it or anything like that. Obviously, if I did, I could just cover that up, but I don't, so I'm going to leave it. But it's a good lesson that I'm not probably going to use them in this way again. Now, these are some clear alphabet stickers from Studio Calico, and I'm sure you're tired of talking about how much I love this stuff, but this is the first time I used these, and they are glorious. Like, I love the font. The colors are just exquisite. And then the texture is kind of, dare I say, gooey. Like, I just really like it a lot. I think they feel really nice too. And so I'm super excited about these. And again, the colors are amazing. So you're going to see me use these all over this sheet because I love them. And it's a great way to fill in the white spaces as well. So, like, for example, I'm writing COVID test around this circle photo. And then I also wrote spa, and I'm going to write vote, and just a whole bunch of different things. And I love the pop of color that these Studio Calico Alphas are giving to this layout. So yeah, I'm just following the circle of this photo to spell out COVID test. And newsflash, spoiler alert, it doesn't all fit. So I'm going to peel them up, squish them together a little bit more, and then it's still a little bit questionable. However, with that being said, I am not a perfectionist, so I don't care that it's not perfect. Like, that doesn't bother me in the slightest. B, it's pretty good. Like, it's mostly okay. C, I think I said ABC. Anyway, if I didn't, just chuckle along that I'm like that. They peeled up fine and moved. I only ruined one, and that's pretty remarkable if you ask me. So I just peel them up, fix them, have a T at the end hangs off a tiny bit, and if you didn't watch this video, you wouldn't even know that I had to redo it in the first place. So I like the going around the circle. I try not to do it all the time because it would get a little bit old, I think, after a while, but I do really like to do it. And so when I remember to, it turns out great. And I think that it's just really whimsical and fun. And I am all about the whimsy and the layouts being just a great time. So now I am going to just continue on this thread using these alphabet stickers, doing it throughout the page. I wanted to put my I voted sticker in here, but it was in my car and my car was at the dealership, so I didn't put the I voted yet. And I will. I'll go back and I'll add it, and it's no big deal. But instead, I'm just going to use these pink alphas to spell. I just think this color is so pretty, and I love the way that it's just a little bit unexpected and different. I could have gone red or blue, obviously, but I think the pink is a fun sort of little surprise. And I might as well bring in a little bit more pink for the week, am I right? And these red ones, I am not a big red type person, but I just love the way they show up on this layout. They look great over there, and I'm really surprised by these alphabet stickers and how much I enjoyed using them on this particular layout. So see, we're having fun with the alphabet stickers. I think it's just such a fun way. Super simple. They're easy to find. You can buy them lots of places. They're plentiful, but I think they make a really big impact on the layout. Now I'm going to add my journaling lines. I love them staggered if you're new here because I think they're really fun and whimsical. If you are not new here, you know this. This has not changed since day one. And I am going to have a ton of journaling this week. I mean, we had the election, my youngest son turned 13, my whole family got COVID tests. I mean, there was a lot going on, so it was really definitely necessary to include a lot of journaling this week, which is great. Some weeks it is, some weeks you have hardly any. That's the beauty of this project, is that it really fits your own needs so well. And so for me, yeah, this is going to be a really full week with a lot of stuff going on, but I wouldn't have it any other way. It's the reason I do this project in the first place. And so I will remember that in the future when I'm doing my memory planning in a classic and I'm looking for ways to fill it up. That there are some weeks right now that even during COVID, that I cannot fill it all completely in because there's just so much going on. So just continuing to add those lines. I'm going to have two fairly large journaling spots and then a somewhat smaller one also because, again, we're talking about birthdays and we're talking about COVID tests and we're talking about the election. And obviously, they're all just getting little snippets, except for maybe the COVID tests. They weren't really that big of a deal. So, I mean, you know what I mean. And so I am just writing all of the things and using my own handwriting. If you have a typewriter, you could always use a typewriter, or you could do hand, or not hand, but you could do computer journaling as well and print that out and add that to your memory planner. Although I would argue that at least including your own handwriting sometimes is very important because it's definitely a huge part of who you are. And in the future, people will really, really want to see that. I think you have to think about how you feel about your family members' handwriting and how you love that. And it's such a huge part of who they are. And at least I know that's how I feel about with my grandparents and my mom and things like that with handwriting. So that's definitely something I think about a lot in my journaling. I also don't hate my handwriting, and so that's one of those things that I'm pretty lazy, so it's a lot easier to just include my own handwriting in my memory planner because it's right there with a pen. So just add that to my memory planner. I don't know that it's possible to include all of the information of the election week in a little space like that, but I definitely am trying to at least hit the highlights. Again, it's one of those things that I know in the future it will be a little watered down, the time, like right now with all this stuff going on in this country. And so hopefully this will help jog our memory a little bit about, yeah, the election week here in the US in 2020. I mean, it's just pretty indicative of the rest of the year as well. So I'm not really particularly surprised. I don't know if anybody else is or not, but it just seems really necessary for me to include in my memory planner. I didn't want to add those alphas earlier because I didn't know how much journaling I would need. So I just left that till I was done journaling and then added those. And then now I just have a few more alpha stickers to include and I'm finished. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching my video. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the box below and I will do my very best to get back to you. Thank you so much and make it a great day.